It's transitioning. Just needs a minute.
Okay.
Okay, we'll just start all over.
Second take.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining. This is Essence of Life, an immigrant story. I'm Amanda Armagast.
I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence.
And my name is Rafik Moore. I'm the guest today.
Well, it is actually my absolute pleasure to have today Rafik here with us because we hear all the time about the American story, which is the immigrant story, and is always about the American dream, how we achieve it, and nowhere else we can achieve it. And as you were telling, this country is built by immigrant, Amanda, but here we have a story that shows us an example of that. So it's my pleasure to have Rafik here. So Rafik, tell us a little about yourself, about your life, about your childhood, where you are from, and tell us a little so we know you a little more.
So my name is Rafik Moore. I'm my name used to be Rafik Mukharamov. I changed it after I came here because of my desire to assimilate.
Mhm.
I came to the United States in 1998. I grew up in Uzbekistan, which is a former republic of former Soviet Union. I'm Persian by descent, and went to medical school back
Mhm.
home 4 years before I came here. I thought I'm gonna go become a doctor, and I realized that my passions actually lie in finance
Yeah,
and real estate.
yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you bought us this building.
I
So
helped to find it. I actually flew to New York to negotiate because it wasn't listed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I flew to New York to negotiate the price. I remember sitting in a entry in this big tower in Manhattan. They're like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" So I came here to talk to the managing partner about this building because I can't get through to you guys. So I figured I'd call.
That is so funny.
You see, taking charge. I
Yeah.
think that is one of the success recipes. Essence of success is taking charge. Don't waiting for people come back to you. But I want to know about your childhood, Rafik. Tell me
Okay,
about
so-
how did you grow up? Because
So
I'm
we-
going to tell you about mine. It was very humble.
Yeah.
Tell me about your childhood.
Well, I grew up and my dad was a teacher.
Mhm.
My mom was a homemaker. We did have a small business that we ran from home. That's the only way you can survive in back home is you have to have some kind of a business on the side to make a living. And I grew up through very tumultuous times because Soviet Union has collapsed in 1991, and I was 13 years old when it did collapse.
So you probably have a lot of memories from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so bread lines and I mean the entire system collapsed in front of my eyes, and unemployment went up to, you hear the stories about Venezuela. Basically, we were living in Venezuela,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just no opportunity, and it was really tough. Now economy's doing much better,
Yeah.
and things are much better. So four of us, I have a brother and two sisters, and from the childhood standpoint, I mean, we were very humble beginnings. My parents didn't have a lot of money. Coming to the United States, my dad, I remember, had to borrow money for my
Yeah.
transportation, and I felt so bad that as soon as I came, I tried to get a job, and
Yeah.
I sent
But
the money.
I want to be in the life of Rafik, 13 years old,
Yeah.
in that tumultuous time that you see your parents are struggling, the society collapsing around you. There are long lines to just get bread.
Yeah, breadlines, yeah.
Is that kind of when you were saying this? Did that motivate you to become a doctor? Is that
So, doctor is a something my dad wanted me to be because he felt like if you have a profession, you don't have to worry about. You always have a good living.
yeah?
right?
You'll be
Mhm.
comfortable.
Comfortable,
secure.
But on the other hand, I always was sort of forced to go to a bazaar to market to sell and to basically be an entrepreneur. So while
Yeah.
they were telling me that they wanted me to be a doctor, they're actually training me as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And at the age of 14, I actually dropped out of school temporarily And I said, screw it. I don't want, everybody around said, going to school means nothing. You're not going to come, you're not
Right.
going to amount to anything. You should go and start a business,
Yeah.
or get a job actually. So I went and
Nice stories coming.
my first job at 14 was kneading bread. I remember I made something like $30 a month.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it sort of forced the independence. It was very. I remember it was just very little money, but
You
after,
probably
after working there for 2 months, my uncle from the city. We grew up. I grew up in a small town. My uncle from the city came and sort of yelled at my mom and said, "What's wrong with you guys? He's very smart. He does really well in school. You should force him to go to school. Don't let him be this worker guy."
Hmm.
And he took me under his wing, and I went and graduated from high school in a city.
Okay.
So that was another
Yeah.
side of my evolution.
Yeah, it's a
From
big
a
change.
Village
Small
boy
town.
to yeah.
But I think I had a similar thing that I went to a factory where I put the children toys together.
Mhm.
Just 2 weeks into that, just to earn money, I knew I will not do that for the rest of my life. I have to be doing something more because that is not going to be me for the rest of my life working in a factory.
Mhm.
So I think this negative kind of experiences that we have shape us.
Oh, definitely.
It teaches you value,
Yeah.
the value of time and the value of money.
Yeah. But more than that, uh, when in the absence of opportunity, you're forced to do whatever is available,
Hmm.
and then you come to this amazing, glorious country, and there's so much opportunity for everyone. And at first, when I came to the United States, I had a full-time job. I started a business. I was going to school full-time, and I was so rapaciously pursuing opportunities that I was just busy all the time. It was
What
crazy.
age were you when you knew you're going to come to US?
I came to the United States when I was 20. So
But when did
19.
you know? With 19,
19,
you
yeah.
knew you're going to come
Yeah.
here. Before that, what was your idea or picture of America you had in your mind? I mean, everybody knows America. But
Well,
what did you think this country is
So-
before that?
in third world countries, everywhere in the world, uh, at least where you have access to internet nowadays or TV or
Mhm.
America is ultimately the world of the country of opportunity
Mhm.
is how it's known. So everybody all around the world wants to come here because of the freedoms of your ultimate ability to self-actualize.
Hmm.
And to me, at 14, I decided I want to go to America. And everyone's like, what are you talking about?
14, yeah.
Only like rich people, only people with a lot of resources can go to America. And you have no chance.
Yeah.
And I remember people thought I'm crazy, but I would just
So-
learn English.
Yeah.
So you
From,
were
like,
13.
At home.
At home,
Yeah.
I picked up a book and I just started learning English. And
It is funny because I was as well 13 when I knew I'm going to come to America. But I wanted to come to America, but I made a stop in Germany. But as well, I started learning English, and I would speak only English with everybody,
Yeah.
and it would drive them mad.
Yeah.
And
I
I
can
don't want to.
imagine.
I'm happy there is not a record of that. How I was speaking English, because you think
guys
my
don't
English
see,
is
but there's
bad
people
now.
Off camera.
You think my English is bad now?
It's
Imagine.
not your English, it's your typing.
Yeah. So 13, you have this ambition. Everybody says it's crazy, and that I think another essence of success, that you have aims that is crazy for other people,
Yeah.
for your peers. You have ambition that is your surrounding cannot even wrap their head around it. So you think you're coming here, you start learning English, but with 19, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Tell me about that process. It cannot have been an easy process because people think people just come here, and unfortunately there are a segment of the population here that they think we are just coming and eating for free. We have a free lunch here. But tell me about the process. How was that process of actual coming to America?
So to me, I got lucky. I met a Peace Corps volunteers. There's a bunch of them. We became friends. I had when I was a medical student,
Mhm.
I started a English speaking club, which was cool at the time. Everybody wanted to learn English, and so one of them invited me to the United States, and I came on a visitor visa,
Mm-hmm.
and then effectively I was able to stay and get my immigration status.
Yeah.
So,
Now, what were you thought when you came here? What do you thought? This is what I thought it is, and what was just the opposite of what, from your experience? This is not what I thought it is. Can you
well,
first experience?
I definitely had a culture shock. Nobody speaks your language. All of a sudden, you are not it's sort of. I know I recognize it was all in my head, but I started feeling like a second class citizen.
Yeah.
I never thought I'm a colored person. I've always thought I'm just a regular guy, right? You come here and now you are not a regular. Uh, there's a categories of people almost here,
Yeah.
and
Where
and I
was it?
realized
May I ask where you came to? Where
I
was
came
that?
to St. Paul.
St. Paul. Okay.
St.
Okay.
Paul. So, I looked for a job for 2 months and I couldn't find it. I was getting really frustrated about not being able to get a job. But within 2 months, I got a job and I found JCC, Jewish Community Center,
In
which was
in St. Louis
in
Park.
St. Louis Park.
Yeah. I used to go
Uh,
there.
yeah. So my people that worked there were from Russia and they spoke Russian, and my first language is Russian. So we hit it off very quickly, and I was basically a transportation driver, ambulatory
Mm-hmm.
driver. I drove, I translated for older, citizens who didn't speak English, and I translated for them. So that was my first job. And a year after, I was determined to graduate from college. For somehow, education, I'm sure it's the same way in your family.
Mm-hmm.
It's ingrained into your mind that if you if you don't graduate from school, you are basically a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I graduated from University of Minnesota, because I didn't graduate from a medical school, I had these dreams of being a complete failure for like years. But
Nightmares. Yeah.
well, yeah,
Sounds
it's like
like
everybody graduated. All my classmates have
Yeah.
doctors, and I'm not a doctor.
You were feeling
I
shame
felt-
almost.
Yeah, so my parents couldn't believe that I became a finance person. Doctor is such a glorious profession, and what is finance person? What do finance people do anyway?
Well,
Right.
Anybody can call
well,
money.
Still.
they don't know America because
Yeah,
in
that's it.
America, the most smart people actually for the last 100 years, don't become engineers or doctors. They become actually finance because the opportunities there are even more. Now, for that reason, we are so short of lawyers. I'm sorry, so short of doctors here in this country because most of our smart people here, they don't want to become a doctor. They wanted to go.
Not
To,
anymore because
yeah.
the becoming a doctor is so arduous and so expensive. I
And-
could not go to medical school because throughout, like, I don't have any support system. I come here and I had to go to full time, and go to and have a full time job. Right
Mhm.
now, I have an 18-year-old daughter, Julie, and she wants to go to college, and the idea of her like supporting herself is so crazy out there. It's impossible
Mhm.
for her to even comprehend that
It's a
a
lot.
possibility. And I'm like, dude, I did it. You should be able to do it. So of course I will pay for her education and I'll support her. But
Yeah, education is very expensive here.
but
And-
then on top of it, you got to pay for your way. You got to live on
Yeah,
something, right?
yeah.
Dorm and whatever. But no, I'll
How
tell
was
you
it
this.
for you? How was it for you? The combination of working and studying and so on, because that cannot be easy.
Because I feel like human mind is such that when you get used to it, it just becomes a norm. But what I realize is that it served me very well because when you have full time school and then you go to work, you get used to these long days and you're productive. And after graduating from college and getting a job, I naturally started a business right away.
Mhm.
And so I work, I come from school, I come from work, and then I work on my business.
What was your
And
business?
I graduated with a degree in finance in December of 2001, right after 9/11. So the finance industry was decimated,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a job as a lending underwriter for credit
Mhm.
analyst at a bank. But I started a mortgage brokerage business,
Okay.
and uh, I would say that I had a lot of work ethic and determination, but I wasn't really disciplined, and I was too much of a sales guy and not so much of an organized like a CEO. I was missing a COO. So in 2003, I quit my job and started the business full time. And by 2006 or seven, we had 100 people working for us, and
Hmm.
4 branches. One in Arizona, we had a branch, and we had licensed in Miami and Florida.
So let me sum it up. You come to US in
98.
1998, and in 2007, you're employing 100 people.
2005.
2005. So within 7 years, you're creating 100 jobs.
Well,
That is, if that's not amazing,
it's not that I created the jobs. I just hired people.
well, that is the
You
definition
had
of
job opening.
it is too humble. But you know, and that is just and as a matter of fact, the statistic is out there for this. Lots of immigrants when they come here, they create a lot of new jobs, a lot of new opportunities, and many of these people who come here, they have gone through a lots of difficulties. These are the most motivated. Those people
Well,
who aren't motivated
here-
stayed back in Iran, in Tehran.
So
Didn't
that's
come
what
over.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you realize is that when people come here, most of the time, best of the best come from the standpoint of their IQ, determination, because people are people. All the people are the same.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Then you get people that are very motivated, driven, and active, and those people tend to gravitate towards coming here, and so you essentially pick up a lot of very motivated, driven people, and I think that's definitely what propels America forward.
I
and
agree.
the statistic actually does show that and again, you're absolutely right. If you check all the cultures, all the countries, more or less we are all the same. But if you put barrier to achieve a goal, obviously people will overcome that barrier, must be hardest working, must be more intelligent, must be more motivated, because again, those people who weren't, they didn't have the ambition
They wouldn't
to come
take
over.
the steps
It
necessary.
is not easy to come and survive and thrive here.
Different language. You don't
Yeah.
know anybody.
Yeah, just alone learning a new language, that is a huge barrier for many people. Okay, now, so in 2000 you come, you start this, and then what exactly how did you decide to become a commercial real estate? Is that what the business is, right?
Yes.
How did you decide to do that and not something else, like a stockbroker?
So I felt like I'm the most unlucky person I've ever walked on this planet. Because I graduate, come to America, I don't have any money. My friends are traveling the world. I mean, you go into finance class, all these guys are like, their fathers own multi-million-dollar empires,
Yeah.
right?
Do you have siblings?
I have siblings, yeah.
Okay.
I have two siblings, two sisters back home, and my brother lives here now.
Hmm.
Anyhow, so
You're
so I gotta
feeling
go to
lonely.
work. No, it's not that I'm lonely. I just don't have any money. I gotta go work, and these guys are playing. I gotta go work, and these guys are traveling the world.
Yeah,
I'm like, what
yeah.
the hell? And then I graduated with a degree in finance in December of 2001. I wanted to be a stockbroker. They
Uh-huh.
said, you're gonna make so much money. And I go
Okay.
and, New York is decimated with
Yeah.
9/11. Nobody's hiring. So I'm graduated my first job out of college, which you're supposed to get $60,000 a year. Of course, they train you. You got to go to college, and then you get a job and you make $60,000, which is great. Before that, I was making $18 an hour.
Mhm.
So I graduate, and I'm $12 an hour is my job. So step backward.
Oh my
Like,
god.
this sucks. And then, of course, my immediate boss was such a redneck, and he would greet me with the word "Assalamu alaikum,"
Yeah.
because he meant to hurt my feelings. Since 9/11 was so fresh,
Yeah.
and are you harboring bombs, and you're making bombs?
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know?
People still make those jokes about us.
Yeah, and we're not even Arabs.
No,
You know what I mean? We just look like them.
we don't even speak that language. They still,
I can't believe people still make those jokes.
they do. They do.
Anyhow, I'm over it. So,
No.
long story short,
Well,
got so
he,
mad at
he
it.
and I, we hire those people now.
so I don't know about that.
That's a
I
dark
actually-
He's
joke.
like, I
That
don't
is
know
a
about
dark
that.
joke.
I send him
I
away.
don't hire people like that. I hire good people. I'm in the business of relationships.
Yeah.
Well, I hire, I give everybody a chance, and I prove them wrong that we are good people.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
So, and so the story of commercial real estate.
Okay.
This guy, I'm like I work a lot, and I'm used to working a lot. So if we have to do 8 files a day, and I do 15 files, I'm really trying to show to him that I'm really like I'm trying to get some brownie points, right?
Right.
And then and over time, like a year later, year and a half later, he hires my subordinate because like they keep hiring new recruits. He hires my subordinate Josh to be my boss, and it was like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
It's like this is such bullshit discrimination, and I quit and I started my own business. And when I started my own,
But did he do you a favor or what?
yeah,
No,
definitely.
not knowingly, not intended, but in a way, many of our success, and I have similar stories, come from being overlooked, being disadvantaged, being on the wrong side of the fence. But
you
then
know,
that
if
motivates us.
If
Yeah,
you
let
have
your
a victim,
haters be your motivator.
Yeah.
if you get a victim mentality and you say, "Oh, because of my color, I'm broke. Because of my this, I cannot do shit." As a result, you sort of manifest everything you complain about into reality. So in our case, the more they push us, the more that we wanted to push back. And so in my case, I just started my own business, and in 2-3 years, I made 10 times more than my boss. And I got lucky. I mean that's the day I got lucky. And of course, where unluckiness starts.
No, but may I say
2008,
something about being
course,
lucky?
yeah.
Luck prefers prepared.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared to take advantage of the luck, luck means nothing. So, okay, so what happened
Preparation
then?
meets opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 2008, spigot got turned off, and there was a huge Lehman Brothers collapse.
Oh, I remember that.
As a mortgage broker, that's all we were selling. We sold everything they brought. We were like, so when and I had $1 million house, I had a Porsche, my wife didn't work, and I had payroll, and so there's no revenue coming in, and basically I got completely wiped out. So having kind of gotten used to this consistent work ethic without realization, my job was a broker and my hobby was flipping houses. I was flipping houses on the side. I just buy, fix, and sell houses because it was a hustle, right?
It
I
was
loved it.
exciting. It's fun.
Yeah. It's fun, and duplexes, fourplexes. So when everything got collapsed, and many of my friends who did the business are still sort of moping around. They're very it's difficult when you go through this type of you lose everything. But I pivoted, and in 2008-9 there was a lot of cheap houses
To be flipped. So,
so I
it is
teamed up with
good to have a hobby that is useful,
I
Yeah.
teamed
you
up
know?
with a high net worth individual, kind of like you. The guy was really friendly. He said, "Look, I got a couple of $1 million on the bank. You can go work it. We'll split everything 50-50." I said, "Great." So I started buying houses, fourplexes, duplexes, and it was difficult starting out without that income. So it was a readjustment. But 2010-11, we did 60-70 houses a year. Again, it's all this work ethic.
Well, something that I think sets you apart from your people you went to school with that you were saying their parents have businesses and stuff is you had to build your own. So you knew what it was like to start from zero, where they were given not all given their luck, but a lot of them were handed things that you weren't. So you had to know how to adapt.
And I think being used to downfall, being used to negative hardship, being used to failing, I think that's as well keep us apart from lots of people, that we don't collapse, we don't break down, we don't just vanish under the carpet just because we have failed before. We know how it feels. Yes, it is hard, but we are not going to break down in pieces like many people who are just successful, but then when they fail once, they don't know how to come out of it.
I think it's all mental.
Yeah.
What I've been lucky, I guess I'm the luckiest guy because my dad taught me the value of education, and ever since I was a child, I used to read. Like reading is the biggest superpower. If I had to give anybody advice, like your nephew,
Yeah.
reading and running are the two most important activities. Why?
Oh, well, I'm reading. Reading.
Why? Reading is because every problem that's been
Not
there,
running.
everything that has been resolved in the in the humanity was documented somewhere.
Yeah.
So all the solutions you can find in the works that somebody has done. But running is very important because when you run and your back hurts and your legs hurt and you're out of breath, controlling yourself and pushing forward.
Don't tell that to your spine surgeon.
Hey, you'll get more business from us runners, right?
Well,
I'm gonna
as,
do
okay,
Ironman,
okay.
hopefully.
Are you really?
No, as a spine surgeon,
We're not big.
if it hurts, stop.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
so it is good to be persistent in many things, but
Don't hurt yourself.
I cannot say if your back hurts, just go faster. Not as a spine surgeon, but figuratively, yes, you go through the pain of life, and so go ahead. It's
So
getting
I'll be
interesting.
very brief. I don't want to
No,
do
no,
the
no,
long
no,
story
no, no,
longer.
no, no.
No,
It's good.
Anyhow,
It's interesting.
flipping houses and whatever. And in 2012, I met a mentor, Alex, and my goal was to get 100 houses. I remember, and with 100 houses, I thought I'm gonna have passive income. You make about $300 a house on average in passive cash flow, and I thought out of 100 houses, I'll make 30 grand a month, and that's a good living. I thought. So, and I had about 82 houses at the time when I met him in 2012, and we just met at a bank party. And I told him about what I do, and he's like, "That's such a stupid business." And I just met this guy. It's like, that's disrespectful. It's like, why? He says, "Well, who are your tenants? You live in the United States of America. Who rents houses anyway?"
Elon Musk.
Well, yeah, I guess it's an anomaly. But he said, people who rent houses, by and large, are people who are not exactly super successful now, are they? I was like, well, that's you make a point. So look at my tenants. All of my tenants are CEOs. All of my tenants are entrepreneurs who run their businesses, and I only buy industrial assets or retail assets. So I don't have to wake up after hours and clean, and fix toilets. I don't have to work on weekends because they don't work on weekends. It's businesses. And so it kind of made sense. But I said, well, look, it's easy for you to say you're mature. I mean, he's about 20 years older than me. I said, you have a lot of money. Buying commercial assets is really expensive. You got to come up with hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy any of them. But he says, look, you can make millions of dollars on them. And so in 2012, he said, you should buy this building, industrial building in St. Louis Park for $2 million and you will sell it for $3 million. And initially I was like, if I buy it for $2 million, aren't there smart people out there who will figure it out? Why would anybody sell it to me? And who am I anyway? I had very low self-esteem at the time. Long story short, I bought the building, and lo and behold, a year and a half later, I sold for $3.2 million. And we made about $1.1 million or whatever on one deal. And that radically changed my life because I started doing more commercial real estate. My housing business continued, but I hired somebody to run it. And basically, that's the story. And I go to these courses. I learn anything and everything about commercial real estate consistently. And now we're in 8 states. We buy buildings. We're buying a 500,000 square foot building right now, and it's just it's another challenge. But mainly, our whole business is about adding value to buildings, adding value to communities, adding value to tenants. And so as a result, we have a lot of goodwill. We're not very, we added value to you on this building.
I'm building my surgery center now.
It's a great building.
Yeah, and it's a great
Just so
building.
you know, this building is a $10 million building, and we were able to get it for our friend right here for $4.5 million.
Wow.
Because that building, in the form it was failing.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really being put to a good use. And I think that is the value you're adding. You buy these distress values that are just not the asset, but a liability for the owner, for the community, for even people who are actually renting it out. Because if the declining kind of atmosphere hurts everybody, and then you turn them around to make it a value to everybody.
And that's the goal. The goal is
Yeah.
to make real estate affordable and accessible through the use of technologies, through the use of raving fan tenant culture is what we aspire to have in our companies. We want to take care of our tenants to the extent that they're so excited that they send us more tenants.
Right.
And that ultimately is what the whole business is all about. But buildings, by and large, landlords want to get more money, and very often the reason why we buy these buildings for that price is because there's a disconnect between the price and the value. The owners of real estate expect a certain price for their real estate, but the value is significantly lower because of deferred maintenance.
See how
Because-
excited he's about talking about
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
think
So-
the passion comes through.
I've just been talking about
Yeah.
it forever.
Yeah.
But right now, the regional malls are struggling. Like we have Burnsville Mall right now, million square feet, and the owners are expecting a higher price. And we said, look, it's not going to work. We dropped the price threefold, and now we are going to be able to hopefully fill it with tenants.
I hear a lot about it online, actually, the
so that's-
Burnsville Mall.
Yeah.
Caspian Group, if you hear Caspian Group is marketing it.
Well, that's I think that's something that all communities look forward to bring the business back to their community,
Jobs, yeah.
and that brings the jobs and everything else. Now, in our podcast today is about the immigrant story. What message do you have for a 13-year-old or 15-year-old or 19-year-old Rafik in Uzbekistan?
Well,
What
I want
message
to have
do you
a
have for those
broader
people with
message
dream?
because I don't want to segregate people into immigrants and non-immigrants. I think we're all, citizens of this planet, and I think we should help everybody. I think there's a lot of people here in certain parts of town that are struggling in the same way that I struggle back home.
I totally agree.
And I think it's all about education. It's all about giving people access to knowledge and opportunity. And I think I've seen a lot of that here. We have 40 people working at our company, and 60-70% of them are, red-blooded Americans.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are driven, but the message is all kind of convoluted because of this whole woke mentality of entitlement, etc. And I try to teach them responsibility, and I try to teach them continuous improvements and growth mindset.
This education, which is very close to my heart as well, and now you understand maybe the background why education is so important for me as well, educating my surrounding and the viewer and so on. This education goes beyond just a degree. This education goes in a way that just learning anything about the life,
anything about anything.
anything about anything. I like that. We should use that. Learning anything about anything, and that start with reading. That start with using every opportunity, and that is what I say. Don't let a learning opportunity go to waste ever. And I think that distinguishes you.
I think
That's right.
also acting on your desires and acting on
Believing in yourself.
Yeah, believing in yourself. And one thing that he talks about a lot is fixing a $10 toaster costs him, like in his hours, thousands of dollars, but in knowledge you gain a lot.
And that knowledge is transferable. That is what it is. It is the beauty of the learning process is that knowledge can be transferred to new opportunities and to other people. And we were just talking about it the last podcast that another surgeon goes and does a surgery in 7 hours, and I do that surgery in 35 minutes. I can be proud of that, but that's not the point for me. What I'm proud of that I can pass that knowledge to another surgeon to do the same good job in 1/10 of the experience that they would get if they would do it by their own. I can package that knowledge and pass it on, and that is what makes we live better than our parents because of that. And I think that is truly
And that's
value
great.
of learning.
I
Yeah.
really like ever since I've been around you guys since you bought the building, I've come to these presentations. So I'm a true believer, and every time somebody complains about back and or neck
Yeah.
pain, I always say, don't listen to anybody. Go to Dr. Abbasi.
Yeah.
Even my mother. But everybody has an opinion, and it's not always the a great one, because all of these opinions are filled with self-interest.
Yeah.
And ambulatory surgery, for especially back surgery, is so amazing. And my mom, I sent her here a couple of times. I've been busy traveling around, but
Yeah.
she was bedridden for a while.
Yeah.
And she's so scared, and everybody's like, "Don't do surgery. You're gonna be,
Mhm.
you're gonna lose your limbs. You're not gonna be able to walk."
We just were
Yeah.
talking in the last.
Just go.
I have
just
I have a
about
term
that.
for that. It's called medically traumatized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so she is so scared. And my only problem is I was too busy. I think she came with your. I don't know if she came here or whatever, but I need to grab her by her hand, bring her here, and get this problem fixed, because it appears and then it disappears again. And right
Yeah.
now she's in that. But I know it's gonna happen again, and she's like bedridden for a week. She can't
Yeah.
walk.
Yeah, well, that
She's
is we were talking about in the last podcast, that that it's a problem that really limits people's life. But she must be proud of you for what you have
My mom?
achieved.
I'm sure she's proud of me. My job is to make my kids, my wife, my family proud. But you know, I'm very blessed. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm super blessed to be here, and I'm at the stage in my life where I want to share. I want to help
Mhm.
people. I sort of redefined my purpose to help inspire and influence others to achieve their
Yeah.
highest potential in real estate or in life. So now I was telling you, I sort of
Yeah, what's of your future?
it started learning about, like, I'm training for Ironman.
Mhm.
I installed a cold plunge in my house because I really want to embrace like healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
You
Good
should come
for
over.
you.
You should come over. It's
Your
about
cold
40
plunge.
degrees.
No, well,
So
We
so
can-
many benefits. You know, it will make you younger. It will
Oh,
literally
I hear-
make you younger.
Yeah, I hear a lot
Well,
about that.
hey, I
It
have a
boosts
la-
your testosterone.
I have a lake in front of my house.
That's what I was
Jumping up.
laughing at too. I'm like, we can step outside if you want to see 40 degrees.
So it is Minnesota. You just have to go to your front yard.
Open
You
the
get
window.
open the window. You get the cold plunge.
It's-
No,
it's
but
about
that's
efficiency.
amazing. you
Yeah,
know?
it's about efficiency, and
Mhm.
it is about like a total body
Yeah,
thing,
immersion,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to have a cold plunge outside. I live on
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
lake. You've been in my house, but it freezes over and it's inconsistent. And so, having installed it, I have this. It cools. Water is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I turn it on. Boom! I got 40-degree.
We should suggest that to some Texan when we
Yeah.
go
Well,
there
they're,
to see how they
isn't it
receive
similar
them.
to cryotherapy? Cryotherapy.
Yeah, it's a
Pretty
similar
similar.
effect,
Mhm.
except it costs less. Cryo's like what, $80?
I
for 3
haven't
minutes?
been. I haven't been. But I hear about it online a lot.
Yeah.
Like a
Oh,
lot
it's
of
a big fad now.
influencers, yeah, models.
What's the best way to influence other people positively? Now that you are here, you have that success story. What would you? How do you want to share it with other people? What do you
So
want them to know?
I do it now through our business. We
Mhm.
empower people. For example, we're opening a restaurant, Mitos. It's going to be the best, of course, I'm biased, the biggest and the best Mexican restaurant in Minneapolis. And this particular entrepreneur and he actually runs a restaurant right here called Los Grandes. You should check it out. It's a
Mhm.
seafood restaurant, not too far. It's on Highway 13. Very,
Okay.
very close.
Yeah.
So it's a third restaurant for this guy, and we basically bankrolled the acquisition of the building and we invested in the business.
So invest in other people with dreams.
Invest in other people's dreams, yeah. Through real estate, though. I don't invest in stocks. I
Yeah.
invest in Bitcoin and lost a lot of money.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't do that anymore. But mainly anything.
You and I
related-
are the only people who lost on Bitcoin. You know, that's
Come back.
just
It's nothing compared to the kind of impact we can have. But mainly, what I want to say is the way I want to share is like your cousin right here, right? I know exactly what he needs to do to get to the level
Where
that
you
he
are.
wants to get to. So if he listens, and if he, in case of your wife, for example, she came and worked, she's set. She doesn't have that drive. Her job is different. But for a young guy who's got energy and excitement in his eyes to do it, I have the pathway. I mean, you have to go through certain courses. You need to mentorship and create, find a high net worth individual to bankroll the deal, and you have to pay to make sure that it's a win-win situation for both. And 5 years, and he is multi-millionaire.
Yeah. Well, has been really amazing to hear your story, Rafik, and I have been observing it. It's not just you have been in my house, I have been in your house, I have been, and this is a genuine story. So it is really truly my pleasure to have you here, and that is sort of a fresh air that see these stories are real. It's not just a cliche from something else. Now, to people who say we have enough immigrant, we don't want to have more of them. They are just to people on the other side. If they would sit on this table and say, obviously your story is contradictory to their thing, but what would you say to somebody like think we should close our borders and don't let people come?
I think,
what would you say to them?
The issue that most people are referring to, and it's of course such a big political issue. It's the legality of immigration versus there is legal ways to come to this country through various visas like H1B, EB5. There's a lot of ways to come here legally, but this illegal immigration is what they think is creating problems. But nobody wants to do these jobs. So like, build that wall. Yes, build the wall, but nobody will pick those strawberries in California. The issue is nobody wants to work. So I don't really I don't get involved in politics. All I will say is that if you have abundance mindset, there's so much opportunity, and nobody's going to take your, nobody take an opportunity away from you. I feel like there's enough for everyone.
But this would be sad. Somebody who doesn't speak the language, who has no legal status, doesn't have all your privileges. If that person is able to take your job, I think we can do much better than that. As you said, there's two paths to get here, and obviously the legal one is that brings people like you and I here. But if you talk to the farmers in California or Texas, ask them what they want. They want those people in.
Oh, exactly.
Because without them, they collapse. Without that workforce,
so
they
again,
collapse.
I'm not a politician,
and we don't endorse anybody in this here.
But from the standpoint of it's all in the mindset, really. I truly believe, and I have a lot of stories and anecdotes of how this country has been impacted positively through immigration. I think people who are against immigration are uneducated and bitter about everything else.
Well, as we said right in the beginning, the country was built by immigrants.
I'm sure your grandpa is an immigrant, or your great-grandpa.
My grandpa did homestead in Nebraska, so he wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. So and and this is as well your story and my story, but lots of people share that with us. So as this is one of our last podcasts of the year. So
it is our last podcast of the year.
Yes,
Tomorrow.
it is.
Our next one's on the 2nd.
Okay, so and I'm happy to close it with this story, and it's time, Amanda, to say our goodbyes to 2022.
Thank you guys for everything. We've really had a joyful year.
And and it's our pleasure to share stories with you that enrich your story. For Essence, I'm Dr. Abbasi.
I'm Amanda Armagost.
Thank you for having me. It was great. My name is Rafik Moore.
Thank you very much
Thanks,
for
guys.
watching us.
Be safe.